Welcome to FRCMedia News for Thursday, August 11th, 2022. I'm Keith Tebow. A teen from Ukraine speaks candidly on the horrors of war before Diman students. Students at the Atlantis Charter School have some fun while also learning at its summer camp. And a local food ministry and arts coalition will be the beneficiaries of an upcoming local benefit concert. All this and more coming up. A social media relationship between a teacher at Diman Regional Vocational Technical High School and a teen from Ukraine led to his visit to the United States and a talk on the atrocities of war before Diman students earlier this week. 18-year-old Oleg Lisi left Ukraine to attend school in Poland just 3 days before Russia began its bombing of Ukraine. He learned of the news on social media and immediately became concerned about his family back home.
I went into my Instagram, like normally I don't have many notifications there, but then I look at my director and there was like 9 message plus. And everyone, like what is going on in Ukraine? And through all these messages, I saw only one: Russia invites Ukraine. Like my friend asked, Russia invites Ukraine. And then in this second, I started calling my mom. I was afraid she'd not pick up, because you know how it's like, you have panic attack, everything. I was just really hard to talk about it, but I was calling her and she's like, I remember only one thing she told me: Oleg, it starts. The war starts, real starts.
Much of Oleg's family has been able to flee Ukraine to other European countries. His uncle, however, was not allowed to leave due to restrictions which say that all men 18 to 60 are not allowed to leave the country. If Oleg were to return to Ukraine, he would not be able to leave until the conflict is over. He says it's likely he will never see his native country again.
Actually, I really like Ukraine. Okay, it's not super comfortable country to live. It's not super rich, but I don't think I will ever back there, because 18% of my city is destroyed. Like 80%, like that's a really huge city. It's like Fall River. Irpin is really huge. There's a lot of parks, hospitals. It's really nice. It was one of prettiest Ukrainian cities, like with European standard, with everything. But then they just came there and destroyed everything.
Oleg was able to visit the United States following an Instagram relationship with Diman history teacher Ashley Duffany. Last spring, she was teaching about the war in Ukraine when she connected with Oleg. She was responsible for helping him secure a visa to the United States and is housing him until later this month. She says hearing Oleg's story will be a reminder to her and her classes how precious it is to have the freedoms we possess here in America.
Having heard his experience, I can kind of pass on the lessons I've learned from him as well about not taking things for granted and really putting your problems into perspective. Everybody has issues. Life's not perfect for sure. But one thing Oleg's kind of taught me as well is, you know, sometimes kids will complain about homework, or they have to babysit, or they have to do this. And you've got people their age literally fighting and dying in another country just to have the freedom to be like, I don't feel like doing this homework. I don't feel like babysitting. So it's incredibly important for me to be able to pass this lesson on to my students, and especially with the connection between our American Revolution and that history of fighting for freedom and independence. Ukraine is doing the same right now. They're trying to fight for their freedom, their continued freedom, and their continued independence from Russia.
Nearly 6 months since the beginning of the war, Oleg still cannot make sense out of why Russia is destroying his country.
I'm the same person as you, and we are all people. We have different passports, different values, different everything, but we are the same. And when I see that my Ukrainians, my nationality dies because someone decided to kill them just because they are Ukrainian, and me, with the same Ukrainian passport, the same another language, because they just won't be different. In 2022, it's ridiculous.
When Oleg leaves Fall River, he plans to visit his family who fled to Switzerland before returning to school in Poland. He says he enjoyed his visit to the United States and hopes to be welcomed back as a college student.
If I have any chance to go any university, because I know some university has like programs for Ukrainian who can help, who wants to study. I always took like study on first priority because it's about my future. And if any university could react for like could just have any program from like for me or just for other Ukrainians who can study, it would be really nice to have any chance to stay in America because I really like the country.
Effective this Monday, August 15th, Fall River Government Center will open 1 hour earlier. City business will now be conducted Monday through Thursday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. and Friday from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Time now to continue our look at some of the candidates running in the state primary on September 6th. Now, many candidates run for office calling for greater transparency in government. Democratic candidate for auditor, Senator Diana DiZoglio, says if elected, she will put the office's role as government watchdog into greater practice.
The auditor's office is actually one that is meant to be the chief accountability office in the state of Massachusetts, to hold those in power accountable to you, the taxpayer, to make sure that these state agencies are actually operating the way that they were intended to operate. And all too often we know that that doesn't occur. So we need somebody who has a proven track record of standing up on Beacon Hill, speaking truth to power, regardless of party affiliation, to make sure that our state leaders and our state agencies are held accountable to you so that you're getting the services that you need. That's the role of the state auditor.
Senator DiZoglio has firsthand experience of how state government forced her to remain silent after she raised accusations of sexual harassment while serving as a legislative aide. She was let go from her position and forced to sign a non-disclosure agreement paying her for her silence. She used that moment to run for the state legislature, winning a seat in the House and now serving in the Senate in portions of the North Shore. Even though she now serves in the legislature, she feels the General Court deserves its own level of scrutiny to be more responsive to the residents of Massachusetts.
No agency should go without the accountability that's needed regarding how they're using our tax dollars. As a member of the legislature, I can say, look, we are the least transparent, the least accessible state government in the nation, according to many good government groups, as I believe I mentioned earlier. You know, there are things like not being subject to the public records law, our committee votes not being made public, not having appropriate time to read bills, taxpayer-funded NDAs, covering up abuses, harassment, discrimination in our, legislature potentially. And then they have actually in the past, we found I exposed that they did. But this is happening across our state government. And we need to make sure that we have a transparent, accountable process in the legislature to you, the taxpayer, and the folks that sent us here.
Senator DiZoglio says she will keep an eye on a number of state agencies looking for financial and performance gaps that can be closed. One of them is the Department of Children and Families, or DCF. Fall River student David Allman was a victim of the DCF system in 2020 when it failed to identify abuse and neglect by his family, which ultimately led to his death.
We hear that there are understaffing issues, that there are resource challenges, and that there are gaps that are in the system. And we know that we've seen some tragedies in recent years with some children having lost their lives trying to go through this or going through this process in the Department of Children and Families. So there are gaps that we need to fill. We cannot allow tragic loss of life to occur under our watch. So as state auditor, I'm committed to doing a qualitative audit of the Department of Children and Families to identify not just where we're falling short on financial aspects and funding aspects of the agency, but also committed to auditing the processes and the procedures that are taking place to help make sure that the workers have the resources that they need and that the processes and procedures are actually effective so that the families who are in crisis, who are in need, and those children who so desperately need help from our state government are actually getting the help that they need.
Much of what Senator DeZoglio wants to accomplish is investigating government agencies as a way to promote access by those who may have been underrepresented in the past. She says cities like Fall River would benefit from such a move.
I have connected so well with our legislators in this region on those issues of fairness and social justice for our communities who are not getting their fair share of those funds in state government and are disproportionately impacted by some of the policies in our state government. You know, we need to make sure that we're supporting working families in all of our communities, but we see so often that our local schools are not receiving the robust funding that they need to provide a great education, regardless of zip code, right? And that they're struggling for these resources. We see our transportation systems, our roads and our bridges not getting the funding that they so desperately need.
Most of the local state election candidates are not facing challenges in the primary. 2 county races, however, are being contested in the Democratic primary. One of them is for Bristol County Sheriff. Former Somerset Police Chief George McNeil is one of 3 candidates running in the primary. He's running against attorney Nicholas Bernier and Attleboro Mayor Paul Heroux. Chief McNeil says his 37-year experience in law enforcement makes him uniquely qualified to be Bristol County's next sheriff.
I was a police officer for a long time. I've arrested people. I've booked people. I've watched over them when they were in my jail. In Randolph, we had 11 jail cells, so and sometimes they were full, and I would have to monitor them. So, I actually started an addiction treatment program, an outreach program in Somerset. I think in 2016, that ran for a few years. That so I actually did it myself. In my cultural and institutional knowledge, I think is better than theirs because I understand police culture. I understand correction culture. Because I've been in that culture since 1987. Well, 85 actually as part-timer, 87 full-time. So I've been in that field, physically, personally been in that field. So that's a lot different than the other 2 opponents.
Chief McNeil says a big part of his platform is improving programs for detainees so that when released, they do not return as repeat offenders.
Well, obviously, there's people that the nature component. There's people that are just bad people, but a lot of those are not in your local jails or your county jails. They're in state prison. Most of the people that are in your local jails, unless they're being held on bail for a serious crime, they're there for they had a suspended license 10 times. It's a 3rd drunk driving. It could be a burglary, but it's something usually associated with addiction or mental health issues or the fact that they can't get a job or they don't have a vocation. So those things right there, addiction counseling, mental health counseling, and vocational training, those have to be platforms for a sheriff. You have to rely on that. That's how you're going to lower crime. It's not by telling your constituents, I'm tough on crime. You can't be tough on crime. You don't have a law enforcement role.
Chief McNeil is also interested in reorganizing the Sheriff's Department, eliminating many existing administrative positions.
You can even go to Open Checkbook, the Mass Comptroller website, and look at anybody watching this can look it up themselves and see what people are making there and see how many people as administrative staff and what they're making for money and have take-home cars. That has to change. It has to be streamlining. The corrections office should be making more money. There's no doubt about that. The 2nd lowest paid in the state. They're being forced. We talked about this off air.
Yeah.
The 2nd lowest paid in the state to Dukes County, and I think in Nantucket because Nantucket's part-time. But the 2nd lowest paid in the state, they're being forced to work multiple hours. I mean, I'm talking 20, 30 or more hours a week in overtime. So they're not at time with their family. It's an unsafe environment for them, and I mean, do they like making the money? Sure, but their base pay is terrible compared to other. They can go to Essex County. They can go to the North Shore and make $30,000 more a year.
The chief is also looking at utilizing Sheriff Department space innovatively, particularly the aging Ash Street Jail holding detainees in New Bedford.
But there's only 700 in Dartmouth, and Dartmouth can hold 1,200 people. The question is, why do we have them there, and just why don't we put them all in Dartmouth? Improve the facility, make it a better place for everybody, not just the detainees, but for the COs. Tear down Ash Street, make a medical facility out of it, a training center. You could repurpose that place by just taking it down, build a state-of-the-art medical receiving platform for people to come to, that are going to be incarcerated, whether it's temporarily or for a period of time, and have them checked there, because police departments run into that issue all the time. There's no medical staff to take care of someone that might have a medical issue.
We invite you to check out the complete interviews of the candidates we've spoken with thus far heading into the primary. You can do this by visiting our special Election 2022 webpage at our website at FRCMedia.org. Prior to this year, the Atlantis Charter School Summer Program was essentially an extension of the school's academic offerings. The program has morphed into more of a camp atmosphere, with academics and social-emotional skills building mixed in.
We developed play activities that would encompass math and reading skills throughout the day. Also, this is a great way, we find, because of the pandemic that we had, that this is a great way to get students to learn through social-emotional learning, working together, small groups, playing together, doing games together, making arts and crafts, learning how to be a team player, learning through animal play, playing with animals.
The 4-week camp wrapped up last week, and Ms. Simona says over that time she has witnessed a transformation on the part of many students.
Social, emotional, academic, students are learning to talk to each other one-on-one. Where there's a problem coming up, they talk to each other, they learn to solve it together. If they're having a bad day, they'll go and sit with an animal and make them feel better for the day. Through arts and crafts, we have a lot of students that are creative and they've blossomed with their creativity. One of our goals for developing this was to get them to be a little bit more confident in their social emotional skills. So when they return to the fall with all set of new peers, all set of new friends, that they're able to access those skills that they need to help them be more successful in the classroom.
Atlantis students say they enjoyed their experience at camp.
Things that I learn here are different from in school, because when we're in school, we're all in one classroom and we're focused on one thing, but here we can be focused on multiple things while doing a bunch of fun activities.
Getting to meet like some new friends and might being in their class and new teachers that I have next year. Sports, I can like take out all of my energy, and animals, I can like be with animals. It's like recess forever, because like I can be active all the time.
I like arts and crafts and animals because arts and crafts, like you get to like make stuff and use your creativity, and animals, like you just get to play with animals, like, and who doesn't want to play with animals? Like
lots and lots of activities, because I ain't really calm. I'm really active, and I can never just sit down and watch a TV show, so I feel like this is good for me.
We'll be back with more FRC Media News right after this.
Here are some job descriptions on the latest hot jobs list from the Mass Hire Fall River Career Center. Automotive technician. United States Postal Service in Fall River is looking for a full-time automotive technician to perform routine and complex repairs and maintenance on all types of motor vehicles used in the postal fleet. Job number 174-10945. High school math teacher. Argosy Collegiate Charter Middle School, located at 263 Hamlet Street, seeks a full-time high school math teacher to create lesson plans to instruct students in general or specialized subjects within mathematics. Job number 174-40208. Psychiatrist. Star, located at 386 Stanley Street, is seeking a part-time psychiatrist to diagnose and treat people for mental illnesses. Job number 174-35292. Store counter sales team member. O'Reilly Auto Parts, located at 171 Rhode Island Avenue, is looking for a full-time store counter sales team member. For more information, call 774-955-0018. Denny's, located at 243 William S. Canning Boulevard, has an immediate need for the following full and part-time positions. Server, job number 174-34379. Cook, job number 174-34791. For more information about these or other positions, visit Mass Hire JobQuest at jobquest.dcs.eol.mass.gov or call the Mass Hire Fall River Career Center at 508-730-5000.
Welcome back. Stepping Stone Incorporated's First Step In homeless shelter continues to meet the needs of those without housing in Fall River. Director of Homeless Services Rosa Medeiros says even though the number of those seeking shelter traditionally is less during the summer months, the battle against COVID combined with inflation has resulted in an increase in those requiring service.
We've experienced a lot of elders losing their housing, first-time homeless. And then there's a lot of stigma about who's homeless and why they're homeless. And of course, we do have problems. We have people who struggle with addiction. We have a lot of people with untreated mental illness, but we have a large growing number of a homeless population that just can't afford housing. That's living paycheck to paycheck and no longer has the ability to sustain their housing. We normally have 20 beds open year-round, and then we open 50 for the winter, and then we have Solomon's Porch, Tomeo's house, that is really wonderful in helping provide winter overflow. So we've always had a system that's taking care of everyone, especially during the cold weather. But it's getting scary. I don't know if the resources are going to be enough this winter. We may have to make other adjustments, but it's just the growing numbers.
This Saturday, the organization is hosting the annual Get Steppin' 5K Walk for Homeless fundraiser. Ms. Medeiros says the annual event returns in person after having been virtual due to the pandemic.
What it does is it brings the community together. Within our organization, all of our programs walk, all of the consumers in our programs walk, all of our leaders are ready to go. We compete with one another. We have like competition between our teams, and this year we really, really hope that we can get community teams here, to show a united effort. It's very important. It raises a good amount of money for us each year. Our goal is normally $50,000 to $60,000. We've gotten up to 70 in all these years, so it raises quite a bit of money and it helps us.
Walkers interested in taking part can report to the First Step In at 134 Durfee Street beginning Saturday at 8 a.m. Walk-ups are welcome, and the walk itself will step off at 9 a.m. Hollywood actor and musician Tyler Beau may no longer live in Fall River, but his heart is still at home. He's using his talents, along with his friends, to raise funds for the food ministry at the First Baptist Church and for the Fall River Arts and Culture Coalition, also known as FRAC. Beau says the benefit performance to be held Saturday, August 20th at the Narrow Center for the Arts will bring attention to solving the city's homeless problem while supporting the growth of Fall River's creative community.
I would hate to see Fall River end up like that, to be honest with you. There are tents everywhere. I see the struggle, the lack of medical, the lack of food. And the other side of it is because I'm surrounded by artists, so many artists, actors, whatever, there's also a lack of funds for the arts. So, I'm decided, why not? Let's do this, and I'm super honored and pleased to have such support from Fall River, my hometown, and everybody who's involved. It's been fantastic.
Jeff Wells, food ministry coordinator at the First Baptist Church, says the money raised will help support the food pantry that has been serving meals for over 40 years.
What we do is that we cook a meal and open our doors. They currently open at 4:30 to 5:30 on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We're incredibly blessed. We have a model that not too many people have, in that we open our calendar to anybody that would like to participate in that meal. We have people that come in through our doors, can sit, can have a meal, share what's going on. It's a safe place. We have a clothing ministry if that's what they need. We have extra meals, we have frozen meals, we have homeless meals. Some people can't even cook, so they're in a tent. And the whole point here is just to offer that because that's where we feel led, and it really is quite a privilege.
FRAC Executive Director Ashley Okino says any support is welcome to promote Fall River's arts and culture scene.
Our parent company, sort of, our fiscal sponsor for FRAC is the One South Coast Chamber. And so for me, it's very important that they have a commitment to arts and culture here. You know, we're saying Fall River, but we mean the region really as well. So it's really means a lot for them to make space for someone like myself to come in and to, again, try to see the best that we can do to serve the committee. Whether it's through education work that we're doing or advocacy work or, you know, just helping people kind of navigate funding challenges as well.
Beau says he's inviting a number of local musical friends to take part in the event, one he says will be unique and well worth the price of admission.
It's a mixture between my acting and my music. It's very visual. If you like visuals, you're going to enjoy the show. Some of my biggest influences throughout the years as a musician have been, you know, people like, you know, David Bowie, Peter Murphy, Peter Gabriel, you know. I like theatrics on stage, you know. And it's very hip, very dance-oriented. If you like to dance, you'll at least like that part of it.
Tickets for the benefit concert are currently available through the Narrow Center for the Arts. Tickets will also be available at the door on August 20th. We'll wrap up this edition of FRC Media News right after this.
Hi, welcome to Hot Dogs and Cool Cats. Today we have Charlotte. Charlotte here is a 4-year-old Chihuahua. She's probably, as you can see, a little mixed. But most of the dogs we have here are. She's also a little bit chunky, but frankly, that just adds to her mystique, right? She absolutely loves being with people, loves the attention that you can shower on her, loves going on walks. She's very energetic. Not much of a player. Like she's not that interested in toys, stuffies, that sort of thing. She just really likes people. So she's definitely the kind of dog that once you've gotten all the energy out to, you can just kind of chill on the couch with. So we come home from work, spend a little time. We are looking for somebody a home that has children 12 years or up for her, yeah, she would do well with pretty much all kinds of households. So if you want to see Miss Charlotte here, come down to 300 Linwood Street in Fall River, Massachusetts at Forever Paws Animal Shelter.
Today we have JJ. She is a domestic medium-haired. She's 2 years old. She's very sweet. She's loving attention. She gets along with other cats. She'd probably do good with kids. She's very sweet, lovable, just loves attention. She looks like she could be a Maine Coon, but we have no idea that if she is. If you want to come down and meet JJ, you can come to Forever Paws Animal Shelter, 300 Linwood Street in Fall River, or you could go to our website, foreverpaws.com, and you can send in an application through there. If you have any other questions, you could give us a call. Our number is 508-677-9154.
That's all for this edition of FRC Media News. Please visit our website at frmedia.org for all the latest news and local information. FRC Media News airs Thursdays at 6 p.m. and Fridays at 5:30 p.m. For all of us at FRC Media News, I'm Keith Tebow. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next Thursday.